Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live mid-speed class. I'm just waiting to see if anybody joins us. Oh, good. It looks like Robin and Joyce are here. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me without my headphones hooked in or no?
Nope, perfect.
Perfect. Awesome.
I can hear you perfectly. Hi, good morning, Joyce. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's there. I can see that she's on, but I don't see anybody. So maybe she just logged on and then walked away.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Happy Wednesday.
Yes. Halfway through the week.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'll mute everybody and then unmute everyone when we get done with the class. Okay, all right, here we go. All right. We'll start out with the frequency word drill. Okay. All right, here we go. Ready? Because, here, many, see, never, even, business, just, things, last, old, go, days, today, thought, put, present, per, year, fact, government, found, food, best, says, being, good, much, world, did, years, right, take, part, might, own, think, without, yet, each, again, between, once, another, half, power, few, house, case, since, under, ever, make, those, no, new, country, get, where, through, am, three, came, also, don't, far, always, going, peace, away, still, to, possible, less, line, ever, himself, place, owe, does, yours, give, cannot, woman, money, nothing, home, same, public, matter, against, back, while, after, most, way, day, down, long, life, work, while. Okay. My next drill is going to be an automobile accident word drill. I'm going to give you all of the briefs that I can see on here before I give you the drill, okay? So you're going to hear accident, driveway. I'll give you the ones that I think maybe you possibly don't know, okay? Driver's license, which is initial D, final L. Seat belt, S, belt. Vehicle, veek. Crosswalk, intersection, NERCS, witness, condition, ambulance, Blance, taillight, initial T, final LT, police, automobile, bicycle, westbound, I like to write that just as WB, emergency, initial M, final J, you might have something different, paramedics, PARM, and then add the Z, east, south, how far, HOUF, how fast, HOUFT, policeman, police department, green light, G final LT, yellow light, Y final LT, signal, SNAL, red light, RLT, eastbound, damage, southbound, pedestrian, passenger, officer, hospital, HOPT, sidewalk, SWAC, flashing lights, I write that as FL, final LTS, if it's plural, traffic, northbound, police car, boulevard, Street light, I write that as STR, final LT. Stoplight, STO, final LT. Police station. Then we've got a passenger's side. You can either write that as PAEZ or PAEDZ, either one works. Left-hand lane. Now, there's we've got left-hand side, left-hand lane. You might have a way to do this already, but just so you know, I write left-hand side as L, final NDZ. Left-hand lane, I just write L, final ND. So that's how I do those, but I've heard of other people doing other things. So whatever you do, just stick with it so you don't get them mixed up. Then we have right-hand side. Again, I write R, final NDZ. Right-hand lane, R, final ND. Let's see. Blood alcohol level. I write that as BLEFL. Rear view mirror, initial R, final FM. Black and white, BLAT. Point of impact, POIKT, point. Stoplight, STO, final LT. Let's see here. Signal light, S. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I take that back. I only have the brief for signal. Pickup truck, puck. Pickup, pup. Police report, right-hand side. I think we went over that one. Before the accident, BEX. After the accident, AEX. Black and blue, BLAB, blab. And then there's miles per hour, miles an hour. I know there's brief for those, but I don't know those. I never could get them, so I just write it out. All right, so now I'm going to give you the whole thing, okay? All right, here we go. And if you can't remember a brief, just write it out, okay? Driver's license, accident, driveway, engine, bumpers, fenders, wheel, seatbelt, carburetor. I don't have a brief for that. Traveling, tracks, siren, green, red, yellow, barrier, vehicle, crosswalk, intersection, witnesses, driver, curb, berm, conditions, pedal, injury, ambulance, ditch, pothole, whiplash, road, swerve, fishtail, distance, corner, strain, sprain, doctor, tail light, on-ramp, off-ramp. I don't have a brief for those, but there probably is one out there. Accelerate, decelerate, curbing, police, injured, struck, auto, injuries, bruises, control. I write that as KROL. Automobile, bicycle, street, curve, westbound, gutter, emergency, east, paramedics, south, how far, how fast, direction, policeman, police department, yellow light, green light, red light, signal, stop, hurt, eastbound, damage, pedestrian, southbound, north, center lane, west, breathalyzer, patrolman, roller tape, passenger, officer, hospital, stop sign, crosswalk, center, driving, crossing, flashing lights, gasoline tank, traffic, middle, lane, avenue, fast, northbound, right side, left side, police car, boulevard, horn, slow, turn, dashboard, brakes, street light, police station, paved shoulder, center divider, stop light, steering wheel, rear end, passenger's side, impact occurred, front end, left-hand lane, left-hand side, right-hand lane, right-hand side, traffic collision, California Highway Patrol, scene of the accident, driver's side, safety harness, motor vehicle, motorcycle, moment of impact, change lanes, railroad crossing, lane change, signal lights, police officer, bots dots, left turn pocket, emergency vehicle, accident scene investigation, blood alcohol level, rear view mirror, black and white, median strip, point of impact, number 1 lane, number 2 lane, number 3 lane. I write those out, but there's probably a brief out there for those. Fast lane, slow lane, shoulder harness, at the scene, curb lane, after the accident, left-hand side, entered the freeway, exited the freeway, flow of traffic, pickup truck, police report, miles per hour, miles an hour, side of the road, right-hand side, before the accident, rear end collision, black and blue. All right. Oh, Nora joined us. Good morning, Nora. It's great to have you. All right. Moving into our next drill, some names and addresses. Here we go. Ready? Philip Jones, 462 East Maple Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Albert A. Adams, 210 Dover Road, West Palm Beach, Florida. Charles H. Campbell, 325 South Dillon Avenue, Lake Park. R. B. Henderson, 546 North Fuller Court, Chicago, Illinois. James C. Alexander, 435 East Eagle Lane, New York, New York. Mary McCarthy, 657 West Georgia Drive, San Francisco. Russell Bailey, 768 Harbor Boulevard, Anaheim, California. Robin Z. Moss, 879 South Iris Street, Washington, D.C. Kelly Stubbs, Kelly Stubbs, 9810 East Jackson Terrace, New York City. Elizabeth Cummings, 109 North Kansas Way, Kansas City, Missouri. Larry K. Smith, 218 West Logan Circle, North Palm Beach, Florida. Sydney R. Bond, 329 Main Street, Glenview, Illinois. George B. Brown, 4311 South Newton Place, Atlantic City. John J. Blackman, 5422 East Ocean Boulevard, Long Beach. David D. Daniels, 653 North Palm Street, New York, New York. Jennifer I. Green, 764 West Queen Road, Dover, New Jersey. Daniel B. Ellington, 986 South Spencer Lane, Cleveland, Ohio. Sherry A. Drummond, 875 Ranch Avenue, Morton Grove, Illinois. Frank D. Gleason, 1110 North Upland Drive, Corona, California. Sandra C. Faraday, 1097 East Tangier Court, Tampa, Florida. All right. Got some medical words. Here we go. Ready? Epilepsy, epileptic, ears. Edema, EKG, elbow, emphysema, echocardiogram. Esophagus, examination, examine, excise, excision, exercise. extremity, eyes, face, femur, fever, fibroid, fibrous, fibula, finger, flexion, foot, forearm, forehead, fracture, fragment, front, gallbladder, gallstone, gastric, gland, gurney, hand, head, heel, headache, heart, heart attack, hematoma, hemorrhage, heparin, hernia, herniated disc, hospital, hospitalization, hypertension, hypodermic, iliac, immobilize, incision, index finger, infection, inflammation, indigestion, inhale, injection, injury, insanity, intestinal, intestine, intravenously, iodine, IV, joint, jugular, kidney, knee, laboratory, laceration, larynx, lateral, leg, leukemia, ligament, liver, localized, lumbar, lungs, lupus, lymph, lymph node. All right. Just date these. I don't repeat myself in another class. Moving right into sentences. This is going to focus on initial consonants FL. Okay, here we go. Ready? Florida's flag is flying proudly. The flying flare flew through the air. Flabby flesh is not flattering. The flowers flopped because they were flooded. The fluid should be flowing fluently. The fluorescent lights flashed and flickered. The flashy, flirtatious female had flipped. My husband flattened the fleeing flatterer. I almost flipped when I saw the fluffy flowers. Flounder, flip, and flop after being caught. The flittering flinch, okay, let me say that again. The flittering finch flew around the flamingo. The flyers flew their scheduled flights with flippers. The flatboat had a floodlight on a flagpole. Flappers flirt in flimsy clothes. Flying flamingos have floppy wings that flap. Flannel is flammable when lit with a flare. We killed the fleeing fleas with the fluid. The fluorescent floodlights fluctuate on flagships. Good flour makes fluffy and flaky pie crust. I was flabbergasted by her flabbiness. You wonder if people just sit around and like maybe that's their job to have to come up with these crazy sentences. All right, how are we doing on time? Good, we're doing all right. Okay, our last drill is going to focus on final G for ing words. Okay, all right, here we go. Her singing is more like screaming and very displeasing. Enjoying a hobby like knitting or painting is satisfying. The tingling water was trickling down the singing frog's back. He was praising the art while pricing the paintings. Jogging is pleasing to speeding people. The meeting was about raising funds for the singing quartet. The stinging bee is sitting on the floating pad. He was panting from jogging most of the morning. The kids were hopping, jumping, and bounding all over the yard. They are relying on your training to conduct the meeting. Court reporting is interesting, satisfying, and rewarding. Cheating and stealing can have stinging results. Cycling, hiking, and trapping are tiring but exciting sports. Boys like watching and whistling at girls in short skirts. Dreaming you are falling is terrifying. While driving, don't try yelling and screaming. Try jumping, running, and leaping. She was sleeping, dreaming, and hoping. Reading, writing, and spelling are important. The ship was sinking during the morning. Right. We're going to go right into some jury charge. Actually, you know what? Let's do our literary first, okay? I'm going to read this once at 120, then again at 140, and then again at 160, okay? It's just a paragraph. And let me give you a word list. You're going to hear proprietorship, coopers, carpenters, American, capital, entitled, small scale, debts, scholar, clerks, clerk, plumbers, smiths, wrights, carpenters, I think I said that, millers. Oh, you're going to hear organization, ORGS. Responsible, SPONL. Okay, all right, so here we go. This first time will be at 120. Okay, ready? A sole proprietorship is the name being applied to a business that is owned and operated by a single person. The sole proprietorship is the oldest form of business organization, dating back to carpenters, millers, smiths, wrights, coopers, plumbers, and clerks. The proprietor furnishes all the capital for the business. He must assume all the risks and all the losses. He must pay all the debts and be responsible for all the decision making. The proprietor is entitled to receive all the profits of the business, and he also holds title to all the business assets. A sole proprietorship is well suited to a small scale business. In fact, the vast majority of American businesses are proprietorships. All right, so I'm going to read that again at 140. Okay, here we go. A sole proprietorship is the name applied to a business that is owned and operated by a single person. The sole proprietorship is the oldest form of business organization, dating back to carpenters, millers, smiths, wrights, coopers, plumbers, and clerks. The proprietor furnishes all the capital for the business. He must assume all the risks and all the losses. He must pay all the debts and be responsible for all the decision making. The proprietor is entitled to receive all the profits of the business, and he also holds title to all the business assets. A sole proprietorship is well suited to a small scale business. In fact, the vast majority of American businesses are proprietorships. All right, so now last time at 160. A sole proprietorship is the name applied to a business that is owned and operated by a single person. The sole proprietorship is the oldest form of business organization, dating back to carpenters, millers, smiths, wrights, coopers, plumbers, and clerks. The proprietor furnishes all the capital for the business. He must assume all the risks and all the losses. He must pay all the debts and be responsible for all the decision making. The proprietor is entitled to receive all the profits of the business, and he also holds title to all the business assets. A sole proprietorship is well suited to a small scale business. In fact, the vast majority of American businesses are proprietorships. All right. Moving right into jury charge. And this one is good because the subject is insurance and it has numbers in it. So you get some practice with numbers. And I think, let's see, this is one page. So I'll start this out at, I'll start out at 120 and move my way to 140, okay? So you're going to hear, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, plaintiff, alleged, ALG, final D, if it's the past tense ED, defendant, insurance, I like to write that I as INS. You're going to hear numbers, affidavit. I like to write it as AFD, but some people write it as AFT. But to me, that conflicts with after the, so it's, totally up to you. Actually, after the is AFRT, but it's very close. So, you can do either way. Okay. All right. And again, I like to write it as AFD. All right, here we go. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the plaintiff filed this action in the district court of this county and alleged that on the 18th day of June 2006, the defendant, in consideration of the annual premium set forth therein, delivered its policy of life insurance to Aaron M. Davis, deceased, that the face of the policy was $600,000, with a provision, however, that in the event of death from an accident, the defendant agreed to increase the amount payable to $1 million. That on the 5th day of January 2008, said deceased Aaron M. Davis died by reason of an accident. That the plaintiff furnished the defendant with proof of death, affidavits, certificates, and statements of parties having knowledge or information concerning the same, and made demand upon the company for the payment of the total sum of $1 million. That on or about the 15th day of March 2008, the defendant paid the plaintiff $600,000 by reason of the execution of the policy, with the understanding, however, that said payment would not preclude the plaintiff from prosecuting a claim against the defendant for the sum of $600,000. That the defendant refused to make further payments, and plaintiff praised judgment for $600,000, payment of which he claims is due under the terms of the policy. The defendant answered and denied generally the allegations of the petition, and admitted that it was engaged in the life insurance business in the state of Alabama, and issued the policy of life insurance on the 18th day of June 2006 to the plaintiff herein, and admits that proof of death and other data in the form of affidavits, certificates, and statements were furnished by the plaintiff to the defendant, but alleges that said statements are insufficient to establish that the deceased died as a result of an accident, and denies that the plaintiff is entitled to recover any amount, and asks judgment for its cost. Okay, so I started at 120, worked my way up to 140. Okay. How are we doing on time? Good, we're doing good. All right, So I'm going to read this. This is jury charge. Criminal is the subject. And I will start this one at 140 and work my way up to 160, okay? Let's see here. Let's see if anything pops out here. You're going to hear malice aforethought. I don't know if you guys have a brief for that. I like to write that as MFT, but I think I've also heard it as MAFT. So it's up to you. You're going to hear Mr. Howe, second degree, aided and abetted, deliberate, premeditated murder, felonies, first degree, intentional, felony murder rule, commission, robbery, instructions, which I like to write as STRUBGS, and then come back for final Z if it's plural, unlawful killing, human being. Okay, all right, so I'm going to start at 140, work my way to 160. Let's see. 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay, just wanted to make sure it was marked at 20 and not 25s. All right, ready? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It seems you have a little problem with some of the instructions. We will try to get that straightened out for you. For the benefit of the alternate jurors who have just joined us, the jury has been having a little problem with some of the instructions, and they have requested a clarification. If you recall, you were given complete instructions with respect to murder, which is basically the unlawful killing of a human being with malice aforethought. It is murder when there is manifested an intention unlawfully to kill a human being. If you should find that the defendant either personally murdered Mr. Howe or that he aided and abetted the killer in the murder of Mr. Howe, you must then determine whether the murder was of the first or of the second degree. If you look at your instructions, you will see that any willful, deliberate, and premeditated murder is a murder of the first degree. Also, and now we get into the felony murder rule, which apparently gave you some problem. Any murder committed during the perpetration or attempt to perpetrate the crime of robbery or the crime of burglary, both of which are felonies, is a murder of the first degree, whether the killing was intentional, unintentional, or accidental. That is what is known as the felony murder rule. It is a murder committed during the commission or attempt to commit certain felonies. Two of those felonies have been alleged in this case. One is in the attempt to commit or the commission of a robbery, and the other is in the attempt to commit or the commission of a burglary. And malice under those circumstances is not required. That is all the felony murder rule is. Right. Do some Q&A. I'm going to give you this Q&A. It's only about a page and a half, so I'm going to read it once at 120, and then again at 140, again at 160, okay? Let me give you a word list. You're going to hear Miss Adamson, employed, defense attorney, Don Cheek, salesperson, Christmas tree lighting, People's Exhibit, direct your attention. I like to write that as DURT. No further questions. I write that as NOFRGS. And they're never going to say no further question, so I never worry about the Z on that. okay? Or coming back for the Z. Cross-examination, Crocs. All right, and this is going to be plaintiff questioning. Oh, real quick. They're employed with looks like maybe a radio station. So you're going to have some initials like KCPO, KCMT, KQNC. All right, so get ready to use your initials, your RBGS. Okay, all right, so I'm going to read this at 1:20. Miss Adamson, where are you employed? Currently, I'm employed with KCPO and KCMT Radio. And do you recall where you were employed back, say, around November of 2009? Yes, I was general manager of KQNC. And do you recognize the man seated next to the defense attorney at the table here? Yes, I do. And who is he? That is Don Cheek. And how do you know him? I had hired him as a salesperson for KQNC. And do you recall the approximate dates that he was employed? Oh, goodness. I know the end date was in December. It was the day they were putting the stuff up for the Christmas tree lighting. And I believe he was employed for approximately 4 months previous to that. Miss Adamson, I'd like to show you what's been marked People's Exhibit number 2 and direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner. There's a signature there. Yes. Is that your signature? No, it is not. I'd like to show you what's been marked People's number 1. Direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner and ask you, is that your signature there? No, it is not. Okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor, of this witness. Okay, cross-examination, please, Mr. Zernich. All right, so I'll read it again at 1:40. Now, don't get right-hand corner mixed up with right-hand side or right-hand lane, okay? I don't have a brief for right-hand corner. Maybe somebody else does. Feel free to type it in there in the message box if you want. So just to remind you guys, right-hand lane, I write just RND. Right-hand side, I do RNDZ. So right-hand corner, I mean, it doesn't really come up very often, so I don't know if somebody has a brief for that, but just don't get those mixed up. All right, so now we're going to do it again at 1:40, okay? Here we go. Miss Adamson, where are you employed? Currently, I'm employed with KCPO and KCMT Radio. And do you recall where you were employed back, say, around November of 2009? Yes, I was general manager of KQNC. And do you recognize the man seated next to the defense attorney at the table here? Yes, I do. And who is he? That is Don Cheek. And how do you know him? I had hired him as a salesperson for KQNC. And do you recall the approximate dates that he was employed? Oh, goodness. I know the end date was in December. It was the day they were putting the stuff up for the Christmas tree lighting, and I believe he was employed for approximately 4 months previous to that. Miss Adamson, I'd like to show you what's been marked People's Exhibit number 2 and direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner. There's a signature there. Yes. Is that your signature? No, it is not. I'd like to show you what's been marked People's number 1. Direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner and ask you, is that your signature there? No, it is not. Okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor, of this witness. Okay, cross-examination, please, Mr. Zernich. Okay, so the last time I will read it at 160. And after this, we can read this back if you guys want. And then I've got other Q&A that we'll do because we're doing okay on time. All right, so last time at 160, okay? Miss Adamson, where are you employed? Currently, I'm employed with KCPO and KCMT Radio. And do you recall where you were employed back, say, around November of 2009? Yes, I was general manager of KQNC. And do you recognize the man seated next to the defense attorney at the table here? Yes, I do. And who is he? That is Don Cheek. And how do you know him? I had hired him as a salesperson for KQNC. And do you recall the approximate dates that he was employed? Oh, goodness. I know the end date was in December. It was the day they were putting the stuff up for the Christmas tree lighting. And I believe he was employed for approximately 4 months previous to that. Miss Adamson, I'd like to show you what's been marked People's Exhibit number 2 and direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner. There's a signature there. Yes. Is that your signature? No, it is not. I'd like to show you what's been marked People's number 1. Direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner and ask you, is that your signature there? No, it is not. Okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor, of this witness. Okay, cross-examination, please, Mr. Zernich. All right. Now, if somebody feels like they're having an off day and you just don't want to read back or whatever, just let me know and we can skip right over you, okay? Oh, Adam's here too. Let's see. Good morning, oh, good. We've got quite a few today. Adam, Joyce, Nora, Robin. Yes.
I could try like a little tiny bit at the 140 speed. I couldn't do anything at the 160. I was all over.
Worries.
I could maybe do like the first couple, maybe.
No, that's no worries. You know, so if you want, you can take the first one if you want, the first Q&A.
Okay. How about I'll just try the first 2 and then you guys can take off with the rest.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I have question. Miss Adamson, where are you employed?
Where are you employed?
Where are you employed? Answer, currently I'm employed with KCPO and KCMT Radio.
Awesome. You got the hard part.
Question, where?
Do you have and were? And then
I have and where, and then I have like a hyphen. And then it says, I don't know what that one is. It says, where were you employed back, say, around November of 2009?
Okay, so it looks like you just dropped a little bit right there. So it's and were, do you recall where?
Okay.
Yeah, so just do you recall? That's okay.
And then I just have to answer, yes, I was general manager of, and I have KONZ.
Okay, that's okay. So KQ and
okay.
Z. Very good. You got the hard part.
All right. Now it's up to you guys.
Okay. All right. We'll take it. Oh. Does Nora, do you want to take the next Q&A?
Sure. Okay, she ended with, I was general manager of KQNC?
Yes. If you want to take the next 2, feel free.
Okay, sure. Question. And do you recognize the man seated next to the defense attorney at the table here? Answer, yes, I do.
Awesome.
Oh, am I supposed to go on or?
Sure. You want to take the next one?
Oh, sure. Question. And who is he? Answer. That is Don Cheek.
Awesome. Great job. Let's see. Joyce. I don't see Joyce, but I can see her name here. Do you want to take one, Joyce? Not sure if she's here. No worries if she's not. How about no, thank you. That's okay, Joyce. No worries. We'll pass then. Adam, do you want to try to take one?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Can't see me?
No. Can you guys see Adam?
I can. Yeah.
I can see Adam.
Well, that's weird. Hold on a second.
Weird.
Oh, there you are. I had to click on you. It was a black screen, and then I clicked, and now I can see you.
Nora is completely green on my
I know.
screen. Is that for you?
That's what
Yeah,
we said on
cool.
Monday. We said it looked like a green monster. And then she showed us her dog, and it looked like a green monster dog.
Cool. All right. I have question, and how do you know him? Answer, I had hired him as a salesperson for KQNC.
Awesome.
Question, want me to do another one?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can take it again.
Question, and do you recall the approximate dates that he was employed? Answer, oh goodness, period. I know the end date was in December, period. It was the day they were putting the stuff up for the Christmas tree lighting, and I believe he was employed for approximately 4 months previous to that.
Awesome job. Somebody else want to take the next one? I can if nobody else wants to. Okay, I'll take the next one. Miss Adamson, I'd like to, question. Miss Adamson, I'd like to show you what's been marked People's Exhibit number 2 and direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner. There's a signature there, and then answer yes. Someone want to take the next one?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Question. Is that your signature? Answer. No, it is not.
Perfect. Here, I'll go ahead and take the next one, okay? Question. I'd like to show you what's been marked People's number 1. Direct your attention to the bottom right-hand corner and ask you, is that your signature there? Answer, no, it is not. And then does anybody want to take the last? The plaintiff comes in and then the court.
I can go.
Okay.
Plaintiff attorney, I have no further questions, Your Honor. The court, okay, cross-examine Mr. Zernish.
Okay. So there's just a couple things that you missed, and that's okay. So when the plaintiff comes in, he just says, okay. And then he says, I have no further questions, Your Honor. Do you have okay?
I have it on the wrong spot. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, no worries. A lot of times people will actually have it. You just kind of skip over it. So, okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor, of this witness. The court, okay. Cross-examination, please, Mr. Zernich. Very good, you guys. Awesome. And that was not an easy one, so give yourself a pat on the back with that. All right, so we're doing good on time. So I'm going to go ahead and read another Q&A, and I'll start at, let's see, this one I'll start at 140 and then work my way to 160, okay? All right, so I'll go ahead and mute everybody. Okay, so let me give you a small word list here. You're going to hear headlights, which is initial H, final LT, and then either throw in your S or come back for Z. At the time, Fifth Avenue, Beach Boulevard, Long Beach, I don't, approximately, that's right, is that right, Huntington Hospital, Pasadena, alcoholic, I think I gave you guys Long Beach, Fifth Avenue, I think I gave you that one already, Let's see here. That's it. All right, so I'll start at 140 and work my way up to 160. This is going to be defense questioning. Ready? Now, calling your attention to the date of October 18, you were driving a car that was involved in an automobile accident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. At approximately what time of day or night did the accident happen? I think it was about 7 p.m. or thereabouts. All right, was it dark? I think it was, sir. Were your headlights on? I think they were. I don't recall. Were the headlights on the other car that struck you? That I wouldn't know, sir. All right, now was the weather clear and dry? Yes. The streets were dry, weren't they? Yes, they were. Now, at the time of this accident, where were you going? I was going down Valley. That's toward Beach Boulevard, but I don't know whether it is south, east, or west. He meant, what was going to be your destination? Where were you going? I was going home. I lived on Fifth Avenue. You were going home? Yes, I was. And where were you coming from? Where was I coming from? Yes. Did you come from a movie, a store, or what? I was coming from a friend's house. And what friend was this? What was his name? Jim Carter. Was he in the car with you at the time of the accident? Yes, he was, sir. And for what reason had you been to his house? I was just visiting over at his house. And why was he coming back with you? I was going to drive him to work. On the night of the accident? Yes, sir. And where was he working at that time? I believe he was working in Long Beach. And were you going to drop your family off at home before you went to take him down to work in Long Beach? That's right. Had you had anything of an alcoholic nature to drink at his house? I don't drink, sir. Well, had you had anything to drink that day of an alcoholic nature? No, sir. Do you remember what day of the week this accident occurred on? It was a Sunday, sir. And what time had you gotten over to his house approximately? Oh, I don't know. It was in the afternoon sometime. And was your wife with you? No, sir. Where was your wife at the time of this accident? She was working at the time. Where was she working? Huntington Hospital in Pasadena. What time was she getting off work? She was getting off early that night. That is why I was to go home. Were you going to go to pick her up? No, she was supposed to go home by herself. Did she have her own car? No, but she had a ride. Do you know what time she was supposed to get home approximately? No, but I was to go home first anyway. I was supposed to meet her. All right, well, at some time in the afternoon, you had gotten over to this Mr. Carter's house. Is that right? That's right, sir. Did you have all 4 children with you? Yes, sir. And did he have any children? He has 2. And you had just visited with him that afternoon. Is that right? Yes, sir. That's right. I pretty much stayed at 140 because I kind of felt like it was because there was some fast Q&A back and forth. I just didn't want to push it too far, but I'm going to do the next one then at 160. Okay. All right. So the next one will be at 160. So this one, you're going to hear Brian Mason, Tilton, Victory, Mitchell Grant, Tom Conley, let's see, sales trainee, non-committal, employment agencies, proposed merger, employee, statement. All right, so I will read this at 160. Here we go. This is going to be plaintiff. Have you ever had any conversations with Brian Mason? Yes. When did you talk to Brian Mason? While we both worked for Tilton. Have you ever talked to him since? No. Did you ever talk to him while you were at Tilton about leaving Tilton? No. Did you ever tell him that you were going to leave Tilton and join Victory? No, sir. While you were at Tilton, did you ever tell anybody that you were leaving to work for Victory other than your notice? No, sir. Have you ever at any time told anybody, to your knowledge, that Victory knew everything there was to know about Tilton? No, sir. May I correct that statement? Yes. I recall someone discussing something about Victory knowing something about Tilton, and it referred to a time when Victory went over Tilton's books, as I understand it, in a proposed merger of the two companies. I don't even recall who made the statement or when it was. Were you an employee of Tilton when Victory did go over the books of Tilton? I believe so. You say there was a proposed merger? This is the rumor I have been told. Who told you that? I believe it was Mitchell Grant. Have you been told anything else with regard to that proposed merger? No, sir. Do you know anything else about it? No, sir. By rumor or otherwise? No, sir. Have you ever communicated with Tom Conley? Yes, sir. When did you communicate with Tom Conley after you left Tilton? Once, about the first part of May. Did you call him? Yes, I did. What did you say to him? I had gotten some information that he had left Tilton, and upon calling him, I found out that this was wrong, that he was still in their employ. What was the purpose of your call? If he had left, I was going to discuss with him possible employment. Where did you hear that he had left Tilton? Through one of the employment agencies. Which one? I don't recall. Did you talk to him at any other time after that? Yes, sir. When was that? After he had left Tilton. And what did you talk to him about? If he had any interest in joining our sales team. What did he say? He didn't think so. In your first conversation, did he indicate that he would be interested in working for Victory? He was non-committal. What kind of a job did you have in mind for Tom Conley? Sales trainee. Did you ever discuss a sales supervisory job with him at Victory? No, sir. Where did you call him from in the first call? Houston, as I remember. Did you ever have lunch with him after you had left Tilton? No, sir. You only called him twice? To my recollection, yes, sir. All right. So that was at 160. And I read it at 160 the whole way. Okay. All right. So we have time. Oh, it's already 10:02. The time always goes by so fast. Let me unmute you guys. All right. Well, what did you guys think? How'd you guys do with the last one?
Oh, I did pretty good.
Good. Good. Very good. Well, do you have any questions about anything? No? No questions about
No.
briefs or anything?
You said something earlier that that you were looking for a brief for. It was a phrase. And I couldn't tell if the second word was of or if it was like the prefix a.
Let's see.
It was still, I think. It was the one right after the affidavit one.
Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, so it's not on that one. Oh, it might have been the jury charge.
Oh yeah, it might have been.
Let's see. David. Oh, let's see. Okay, yeah. So I found the jury charge. Alleged.
No. It was a phrase that was like 3 or 4 words.
Let's see. By reason.
Yeah, it sounded like the second word was of, possibly.
Okay, let me see here. On or about. Let's see. Because I found the affidavit because I highlighted that so I could tell you guys about that. Let's see.
Yeah, I think it was the one you read after that.
Oh, good. Okay, hold on. So I think I only read one here. Oh, are you talking about malice aforethought?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, malice aforethought.
Or is it of forethought?
Okay, so it's malice, and then aforethought is one word. So it's AFORETHOUGHT. So it's malice space and then aforethought. Aforethought is one word. AFORETHOUGHT.
Awesome.
Yep, and that's the one that I write you can do MAFT or you can do MFT. Either one works.
There we go.
Well, I think you have to be careful with this. MAFT is, so it doesn't conflict with mast.
Yeah.
But I write it as MFT.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad I found it. All right. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to tell you guys about. Let me pull this up.
Malice aforethought.
My girlfriend, I was talking to her about numbers. I talked about this last Friday in the high speeds because somebody had a question about it. And it was about dates. Okay, so my girlfriend, she's a depot reporter. She found a crafty little way to write dates. Not in the 1900s, but in the 2000s. So she said, for any date in the 2000s, like 2001, she just writes 1Z. 2002, 2Z. 2012 would be 12Z. And then 2006 she writes K6. 2007, K7. Now I asked her about 11. I said, what do you do for 11, or pretty soon we'll hear 22, before you know it. So she said 11, anytime it repeats itself, she'll do, let's see. So first write 11, it's the number with U. So 11, she writes one U. So she doesn't come back for one, you know what I mean? She doesn't write 1U. She just writes 1U, and that tells her that it's 2011. So somebody in the higher speech just said, hey, do you have any way to kind of simplify the years to make it easier? And I asked my girlfriend if she's got an easier way, and this is what she said. So anything in the 2000s, she uses that, like 2000, she uses 0Z. 2001, 1Z, 2002, 2Z, etc. And then, but then she switches over once the numbers are on the right side of the keyboard. Then she does K6 for 2006, K7 for 2007.
I think the K thing is going to conflict with our times.
Time figure. Yes, that's what I was thinking. So, I mean, you can always come up with something else, you know, but I mean, and the only reason why I bring this up is because I had somebody in the high speeds ask about it. So I got her, and she doesn't do that with time figures, so I can see why it doesn't conflict. But, you know, just keep that in mind, you know.
Yeah.
So there's always, you know, and of course you don't want to stall and have to think about it and have it put you behind, you know what I mean? So you might just be better off doing what you know now, and then if the problem later, then, you know, you can implement something like this. So he said she just kept, you know, she kept practicing until she got it. And I said, well, what about, you know, the years of the 1900s? That she just does the, like 1950, she just does 1950, or 19 comes back for 50. She doesn't flag it. So, you know, she just said she doesn't worry about the flagging so that it doesn't look like 1950. So, and she's a real-time writer. So she just, you know, she said that's one thing she doesn't worry about. That, you know, there's always room to finagle, you know, you're writing, struggling with something, you know, if it works, it doesn't conflict. But I would say if you wanted to do something like this, just to really practice it so you don't hesitate and lose time. So, all right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of your day. And then maybe I'll see some of you, and you can always join the live class on Fridays, and then just get what you can and drop what you have to, you know, especially if you find that you're in the more of the higher side of the mid speeds, and you might want to push and just drop, you know, just tell yourself, I'm going to drop, I'll get what I can and drop what I have to, you know, and then just pass if we do read that. So don't be afraid. All right. Well, have a great day.
You too.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining live.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.